The arrival of the male girl. The human colony was quiet that evening. The twin suns of the alien world were sliding down behind the hills, painting the sky with strange colors, purple and green. People in the colony always said this time of day was dangerous. Shadows grew longer, and odd sounds came from the forest beyond the walls. Daniel, a young human worker, stood outside his quarters with a package in his hands. The package had not come through the usual drop box. It was hand-delivered. That alone was unusual. But what made him pause was who had delivered it. She was small, much smaller than most of the alien species he had seen here. Her skin had a faint shimmer like the surface of water under starlight. Her hair was long, silver blue, flowing down her shoulders. She wore the colony's messenger sash, the mark of the male girl. But her eyes did not look normal. They were too bright. She had stood there in silence for a long moment after giving him the package, just staring, not smiling, not speaking, just watching him, as if he were something important, something she had been searching for. Daniel shifted, uncomfortably. Thanks, he said, trying to sound casual. You must be the new courier. Haven't seen you before. The girl tilted her head slightly, almost like an animal listening to a strange sound. Then, very slowly, she whispered in a soft voice that made the hair on his neck rise. You are the one. Before he could ask what she meant, she turned and walked away, vanishing down the stone path that led out of the human sector and into the alien streets. Her movements were graceful, but strange. Too quiet, too smooth. Daniel stood frozen, holding the package, his heart beating fast. Inside the colony tavern that night, he mentioned the encounter to the others. The male girl? One of the older settlers muttered. Careful with her. She's not just a courier. Her kind. They're different during certain times. Daniel frowned. Different? What do you mean? But no one gave him a clear answer. They only exchanged uneasy looks, as if speaking more would invite trouble. Back in his quarters, Daniel tried to shake off the feeling. He opened the package, found nothing strange inside, just tools he had ordered for work. Yet he couldn't stop thinking about her eyes, bright, glowing, almost alive with some hidden fire. That night, as he tried to sleep, he heard soft footsteps outside his door. Slow, careful, he held his breath. The steps stopped directly at his door. For a long time, silence. Then, 3 soft taps. Daniel sat up. Who would be knocking at this hour? Nobody in the colony was foolish enough to wander around at night, not with the forest so close. He waited, but whoever it was did not knock again. The next morning, as he walked through the market square, he saw her again. The alien male girl stood among the crowd, her silver blue hair catching the sunlight. But she wasn't delivering mail. She was just standing there, staring at him. When his eyes met hers, she smiled faintly for the first time. A strange, knowing smile. Then she began walking toward him, her movements smooth, deliberate. The crowd seemed to step aside without even noticing, as if guided by some unseen force. Daniel felt his chest tighten. He didn't know why, but part of him wanted to turn and run. The girl stopped only a few steps away. Her voice was calm, but the words made the market go silent. It has begun, she whispered. The season is here. And you are mine. Gasps rose from the crowd. People whispered in fear. Some looked at Daniel with pity, others with disbelief. He tried to laugh it off, but the sound caught in his throat. What season? He asked. What are you talking about? The girl's eyes glowed brighter in the daylight, almost golden now. She didn't answer his question. She only reached out one hand, fingers trembling slightly as if fighting against something inside her. A merchant nearby quickly pulled Daniel aside. Fool, the man hissed. Don't let her touch you, don't you understand? She's entered mating season. And if she has chosen you? Daniel's heart pounded. Chosen me for what? The merchant's face was pale. For life? There is no escape once a male girl chooses. Daniel stared at the girl who still stood there with her hand outstretched, her glowing eyes fixed only on him. The market buzzed with whispers, fear spreading like fire. He realized with a cold shiver that everyone believed it, believed her. And then, before anyone could stop her, she spoke again, louder this time, her voice carrying across the square. You belong to me. The crowd fell silent. Daniel's mouth went dry. He wanted to shout, to deny it, to laugh at the absurdity of it. But deep inside, he knew this was not a joke. Something ancient and powerful had just been set in motion, something he could not easily escape. He looked around desperately, but no one stepped forward to help him. They only watched, afraid, as the alien male girl lowered her hand, her strange smile never fading. The suns dipped lower, and the shadows grew long again. And in that silence, Daniel realized something terrifying. His life had just changed forever. Strange behavior. The next morning, Daniel tried to forget what happened in the market. He told himself it was just a misunderstanding, maybe some alien tradition he did not understand. But the memory of her glowing eyes would not leave him. Every time he closed his own eyes, he saw hers. He went to work early, hoping a busy mind would keep the unease away. But as he fixed machinery in the colony yard, he felt something, a shadow, a presence. He turned slowly, and there she was. The alien male girl stood just beyond the fence, silent as always. She was not delivering anything. She was not speaking. She was just watching him. Daniel's stomach tightened. Why is she here again? He whispered under his breath. Hours passed, and every time he looked up from his tools, she was still there, sometimes closer, sometimes standing farther back but never leaving. Others noticed too, but they quickly looked away, pretending not to see. It was as if no one dared to interfere. Finally, Daniel decided to confront her. He wiped his hands on a rag and walked to the fence. Look, he said, trying to sound calm. I don't know what you think this is, but I'm not. He stopped. Her eyes glowed again, faint but steady, like burning coals in the dim light. She tilted her head, her lips parting just enough to whisper, You cannot run. Daniel's skin went cold. He stepped back without meaning to. But when he turned to leave, her voice followed, soft yet sharp. I will keep you safe. I will never leave you. You are mine. That night, Daniel locked his door tightly. He tried to sleep, but the silence outside pressed against his ears. He told himself it was fine, that she couldn't get inside. But then, the sound came. Tap, tap, tap. 3 soft knocks on the door, the same as before. Daniel sat up, heart pounding. He did not answer. He did not move. He only listened. For a long time, nothing else happened. But then, he heard a whisper through the door. Daniel. He froze. She knew his name. He had never told her. He stayed awake until dawn. When the suns rose, he opened the door carefully. The street was empty, but in the dust at his doorstep, he saw small footprints. Hers. The following day, her strange behavior grew worse. Daniel went to the mess hall to eat. He sat at a long table with other workers, hoping company would help. But when he looked up, she was standing in the doorway. The chatter in the hall died. Everyone fell silent. She walked forward slowly, her eyes fixed on him. She carried no letters, no packages, only her gaze. She stopped beside him, placed a small parcel on the table, and whispered so everyone could hear. For you. Daniel did not touch the parcel. He whispered back harshly, Why are you following me? Her head tilted, her silver blue hair sliding across her face. Because it is time. The season has chosen. I cannot fight it, and neither can you. The entire hall erupted in whispers. Some colonists stood and hurried out, not wanting to be involved. Others stared at Daniel with pity. He felt anger rise inside him. He wanted to shout, to push her away, but something in her eyes stopped him. It was not just hunger or desire, it was need. desperation. Later, as he left the hall, a hand grabbed his arm. It was an old alien woman, her face lined with deep creases, her eyes heavy with fear. "Listen to me, human," she hissed. "You must be careful. The male girl has entered her cycle. She cannot control it. Once she marks you as hers, nothing will stop her. Not the elders, not the colony guards, not even death." Daniel shook his head. "But why me? I'm just an
engineer. There are others stronger, smarter." The old woman's grip tightened.
She does not choose with reason. She chooses with instinct. And instinct never lets go." Her words sent a chill deeper than the night air. When Daniel returned to his quarters, he found something waiting outside his door. A bundle of flowers, glowing faintly in the alien moonlight. Beside them, a mark scratched into the wood of his door. 3 lines crossing one another, an ancient sign he had seen carved into alien temples. A sign of bond, a sign of claim. He looked around the street, but it was empty. Still, he felt her eyes somewhere in the shadows, watching, waiting. Daniel stepped inside quickly and locked the door. His hands shook as he leaned against the wall. This was no simple superstition. This was real. He whispered to himself, "What have I gotten into?" And outside, in the silence of the alien night, the male girl whispered back softly, though he could not hear, "You are already mine." The warning Daniel woke with heavy eyes. He had barely slept. Every creak of the wood, every whisper of the wind had made him think she was outside again. When morning finally came, he almost felt relief. But the relief didn't last long. In the Dao, Market Square, people avoided him. Conversations stopped when he passed. Some turned their backs. Others simply stared with pity. It was as if he had become marked, not only by her, but by the entire colony. He tried to ignore it. He bought his food, kept his head down, and planned to get back to work. But as he turned a corner, a voice stopped him. "Human," it said. An old alien woman stepped from the shadows. Her skin was wrinkled like dried bark, and her eyes burned with a strange, heavy wisdom. She leaned on a crooked staff, her shoulders bent, but her presence strong. Daniel blinked. "Do I know you?" "No," she said, shaking her head. "But you must listen. If you want to live, you must listen." Her voice was low, urgent. Daniel hesitated, then nodded. The old woman looked around the street to make sure no one was near. Then she spoke in a whisper. "She has chosen you. Do you know what that means?" Daniel sighed. "I keep hearing that, but no one explains it. She's just strange. She keeps following me, staring at me, knocking on my door. I didn't ask for this. I didn't choose her." The old woman's face grew hard. "Choice does not matter. Her kind does not choose with words. They choose with instinct. And once chosen, the bond cannot be broken." Daniel frowned. "Bond? What bond?" The old woman's eyes narrowed. "The bond of life. When a male girl enters her mating season, her body burns with need. If she does not bind herself to a mate, the fire will consume her. She will weaken, lose herself, and finally die." Daniel's breath caught. "Die? Just because of me?" The old woman nodded slowly. "Yes. If she has named you, then her fire is tied to you. You can reject her, but the bond will still pull at her. The longer you resist, the closer she comes to madness. And when madness takes her, she will not only burn herself, she may burn you as well." Daniel felt his stomach twist. He wanted to believe it was superstition, just alien myth. But the way the old woman spoke, with fear heavy in every word, made him think otherwise. He rubbed his face. "So what am I supposed to do? Just accept it?" The woman leaned closer, her voice sharp as a knife. "You must decide quickly. The colony elders will not protect you. They fear her kind too much. They will leave you to your fate. Some may even hope you accept, so the danger passes. But if you run, she will follow. If you hide, she will find you. If you fight, she will break. Daniel shook his head. This is insane. I don't even know her. Why me? Why not someone else? The old woman's gaze softened just for a moment. That is the mystery of instinct. Perhaps your strength, perhaps your blood, perhaps only chance, but it does not matter now. She has marked you, and the mark cannot be erased. Daniel's chest felt heavy. His world, once normal and simple, was slipping out of his control. He remembered the glowing flowers at his door, the sign carved into the wood, her voice whispering his name. The old woman gripped his arm. Be careful. If you reject her cruelly, she may shatter. If she shatters, she will not be the girl you saw. She will become something else. Something dangerous. Daniel swallowed hard. Dangerous how? The woman's eyes darkened. When the bond breaks, the fire consumes everything. She will no longer see you as a mate. She will see you only as prey. Daniel froze. Prey. The word echoed in his mind like thunder. Before he could ask more, the woman pulled her hood over her head and disappeared into the crowded street, leaving him standing alone with the weight of her warning. That night, Daniel could not relax. He sat in his room staring at the mark on his door. The 3 carved lines seemed to glow in the moonlight. He thought about her glowing eyes, her trembling hand, her whisper, "You belong to me." And for the first time, fear mixed with pity inside him. If she truly would die without him, what could he do? A soft sound broke his thoughts. Footsteps, slow, gentle, approaching again. He held his breath. The footsteps stopped outside his door. And then in the silence, her voice drifted through. Daniel, open. Please, I cannot wait much longer. His hands shook as he pressed them against the wooden door. He knew the old woman's words were true. The fire was real. The bond was real. And soon, he would have to choose. The chase Daniel did not open the door that night. He sat frozen on the floor, listening to her soft voice whisper his name again and again. Each time it grew heavier, almost breaking into sobs. Then silence. Hours passed before the footsteps finally faded away. When dawn came, Daniel thought he would find peace. But instead, fear grew sharper. The old woman's warning echoed in his head. If you run, she will follow. If you hide, she will find you. By midday, he decided he could not stay trapped in his quarters anymore. He needed answers, or at least distance. Maybe if he left the colony walls, went to the trade outpost on the far ridge, he could put space between himself and her. He packed, quickly, some food, his toolkit, and a small shock rod for protection. He kept his head low as he crossed the colony gates. The guards barely looked at him. Everyone already knew. Everyone knew he was the target. The forest outside the colony was alive with sounds. Strange birds with glassy wings. Insects that clicked like knives. Daniel moved fast, trying to ignore the feeling that every tree hid a pair of eyes. Hours later, as he climbed a rocky trail, he heard it. Footsteps. Light, steady, deliberate. He stopped, holding his breath. The forest grew quiet, as if listening, with him. Then he saw movement, silver blue hair, shimmering skin, glowing eyes. The male girl stepped out from the shadows. She was barefoot, her dress torn by branches, yet she moved with unnatural grace. Her eyes locked on him, and her lips curved in a strange, sad smile. "Daniel," she whispered. "Why do you run from me?" He gripped the shock rod. "Stay, back." But she only tilted her head, stepping closer. "You are mine. You feel it too. You cannot deny it." Daniel's pulse raced. He turned and ran. The forest exploded with sound. Branches snapped under his boots. Birds scattered into the air. Behind him, her footsteps were impossibly fast, barely touching the ground. He glanced back and saw her weaving through the trees like a shadow, her glowing eyes never leaving him. Stop running. Her voice rang out, sharp, echoing through the forest. You will hurt yourself. Let me protect you. But Daniel pushed, harder, his lungs burning, his legs aching. He leapt over fallen logs, shoved through thick brush. He thought he had gained distance until a whisper came from ahead. Daniel. He froze. She was not behind him anymore. She was in front of him. The girl stepped out from the trees, blocking his path. She wasn't even out of breath. Her glowing eyes looked almost sad, as if she couldn't understand why he resisted. Daniel swung the shock rod, desperate. The weapon crackled with blue energy. But before he could strike, she moved. Fast, too fast. She caught the rod in one hand, her small fingers wrapping around it like steel. Sparks danced across her skin, but she did not flinch. Do not fight me, she said softly. It hurts me when you fight. Daniel pulled free and stumbled back. You don't understand. I didn't choose this. I don't want this. Her eyes flickered, pain flashing across her face. But I did choose, and my choice cannot change. If you reject me, I will die. Her voice broke at the last word. For a moment she looked fragile, trembling, like a child left alone. But then the glow in her eyes returned stronger, burning gold in the shadows. She stepped closer, and Daniel knew he had only seconds. He turned and bolted again, crashing through the trees. He didn't care where he went as long as it was away from her. The chase continued until the suns began to set. His legs were weak, his lungs raw, but still she followed, always close, never giving up. Sometimes ahead of him, sometimes behind, but always there. Finally, as night fell, he stumbled out of the forest and into a clearing at the edge of a cliff. The ground dropped away into darkness. There was nowhere left to run. He turned, chest heaving, sweat pouring down his face. She stood at the tree line, her glowing eyes shining like two golden stars. Please, she whispered, stepping forward. Don't run anymore. Don't make me hurt. Stay with me. Just stay. Daniel backed closer to the cliff edge. His mind screamed for a choice: jump and risk the fall, or let her take him. The wind howled through the canyon below. Her glowing eyes grew brighter, her hand reaching out once more. And Daniel realized with dread that no matter what he chose, his life would never be the same again. The confrontation, Daniel's boots scraped against the loose stones at the cliff's edge. The drop behind him was endless darkness, the canyon swallowing sound and light alike. His chest rose and fell as he tried to catch his breath, but the air felt thin. Across the clearing, the alien male girl stepped closer. Her glowing eyes lit the shadows like two golden flames. She raised her hand, trembling, as though caught between fear and hunger. Daniel, she whispered, her voice soft, almost pleading. Stop running. You will fall. I don't want you hurt. Daniel shook his head, his pulse racing. Stay back, please, just stay away from me. Her glowing eyes softened, but there was pain in them. You don't understand. If you reject me, I will break. My body cannot live without the bond. Do you want me to die? Her words hit him like a blade. Daniel froze, torn between pity and fear. For days she had hunted him, her whispers haunting his sleep. Yet now she looked fragile, her lips quivering, her hands shaking. She was dangerous, he knew it. But she was also dying. Why me? Daniel demanded, his voice cracking. There are hundreds in this colony. Why me? She stepped forward, her silver blue hair glowing faintly under the twin moons. Because my instinct chose. My heart chose. You are strong. You are different. No alien, no human, no elder could change this. It is written in me. And now, it is written in you. Daniel stumbled back another step, the cliff's edge crumbling beneath his boot. Stones tumbled down into the abyss, lost in the endless dark. Her eyes widened in alarm. No, she cried, reaching out. Don't fall. I cannot lose you. Not like this. Daniel's grip tightened on his shock rod. If I let you touch me, it's over, isn't it? She nodded slowly. Yes. The bond will seal. Forever. You will never leave me. I will never leave you. Daniel's heart pounded. Forever. The word was a cage, but before he could speak, a rustling came from the trees. Torches flickered, shadows moved. A group of colonists stepped into the clearing, led by two alien elders. Their faces were grim, their eyes fixed not on Daniel, but on her. One of the elders raised his staff. "It must end here," he declared. "She cannot bind a human. It is forbidden." The girl's face twisted in fury. Her glowing eyes flared brighter, her voice rising into a cry. "You would take him from me? You would let me die?" The elder's voice was firm. "If that is the law, then yes." The girl trembled, her body shaking violently as if torn between instinct and despair. "No," she screamed. "He is mine. You will not take him." Daniel looked between them, his mind spinning. The colony wanted to stop her. The girl wanted to claim him. And he just wanted to survive. The second elder's gaze turned to Daniel. "Step away, human. If you let us bind her, she will no longer hunt you. She will wither, but you will be safe." Daniel's stomach turned cold. Safe. But at the cost of her life. He remembered the old woman's warning. If she breaks, the fire will consume her, and maybe him too. The girl's knees buckled, her hands clutching at her chest. She gasped for air, her glowing eyes dimming with pain. She looked at Daniel, tears running down her shimmering cheeks. "Please," she whispered, "don't let them take you from me. I cannot survive without you." The elders raised their staffs, chanting in their alien tongue. Power hummed in the air, a force that made the ground tremble. The girl screamed, falling to her knees, her glow flickering as if her life was being pulled away. Daniel's chest tightened. He could walk away now. He could let them stop her, let the bond die. He would be free. But as he watched her collapse, on the ground gasping like a drowning child, something inside him shifted. This was not just about fear. It was about life, about mercy. He shouted over the hum of the elders' chant. "Stop." The chanting broke. The forest grew silent again. All eyes turned to him. Daniel stepped forward, past the elders, past the torches until he stood before the trembling girl. Her glowing eyes flickered weakly as she looked up at him. "If I touch you," Daniel whispered. "You live?" She nodded, barely able to breathe. "Yes." His hand hovered in the air, shaking. Behind him, the elders shouted warnings, telling him it would bind him forever, that it would bring ruin. But their voices grew distant. All he saw was her. Broken, fragile, dying. Daniel took a deep breath. Then slowly he reached out his hand. Her trembling fingers rose to meet his. The moment before they touched, the forest seemed to hold its breath, the choice. The forest stood still, as if the world itself was waiting. Daniel's hand hovered above hers. Just one touch, and everything would change. Behind him, the elders shouted again, "Human! Do not! Seal the bond, you don't know what you're doing!" But their words felt distant like echoes in a tunnel. His eyes were locked on hers. The alien male girl kneeling, trembling, glowing weakly as if her life was slipping away. "Please," she whispered, her voice thin, breaking. "Don't let me die." Daniel's chest tightened. He wanted to step back to free himself. But he also saw her pain, real and raw, burning brighter than fear. He had never seen such desperation. Slowly, his fingers brushed against hers. The world erupted in light. A golden flare burst from her body, spilling into him like fire through his veins. Daniel gasped, falling to one knee. The sensation was not pain, but overwhelming warmth, an ancient rhythm, a pulse that was not his own. He felt her heartbeat inside his chest, fast and desperate, then calming as their touch lingered. The girl gasped too, her trembling body suddenly steady, her glowing eyes brightened, tears running down her face. "You chose me," she whispered. "You saved me." Daniel pulled his hand back, shaking, his whole body tingling with strange energy. I didn't mean..." But it was too late. The bond had sealed. The elders lowered their staffs in shock. Their chanting had stopped, their faces pale with disbelief. One elder spat into the dirt. "Foolish human, do you know what you've done? You've bound yourself to her. Forever." Daniel staggered to his feet, glaring. "I saved her life. Would you rather I let her die?" The elder's eyes narrowed. "Better one death than the breaking of ancient law. You've brought ruin upon yourself and maybe upon us all." The girl rose slowly, her steps unsteady but her glow now strong. She stood beside Daniel, almost, leaning against him as though she could not be apart. Her hand brushed his arm lightly and his skin burned with a strange connection. "I will protect you," she said softly, but loud enough for the elders to hear. "Always. He is mine now." The colonists who had gathered in the shadows gasped. Whispers spread quickly. Some faces showed fear, others awe. A human had done what no alien dared. He had chosen the bond willingly, even if by impulse. Daniel turned to the girl, his voice low. "What does this mean for me?" Her glowing eyes softened, filled with something deeper than obsession now. "It means your life is tied to mine. When I breathe, you breathe. When I bleed, you bleed. If I fall, you fall." Daniel's stomach twisted. He felt the weight of her words press against him like chains. "So I'm trapped?" She looked hurt, but she nodded. "Bound, not trapped. We are one now. That is how my people live. That is how we survive." The elders raised their staffs again, fury flashing in their eyes. "This cannot be allowed. If the bond is complete, the human must be cast out with her. They will bring disaster to the colony," the crowd murmured, torn between fear and fascination. Daniel's pulse quickened. The girl's hand tightened on his arm, her glowing skin warm against his. "If they cast you out," she whispered, "then I will follow. I will fight them. I will kill if I must. I will not lose you." Daniel's eyes widened. "No, you can't." "But," her voice grew fierce, trembling with the fire of her bond. "You don't understand, Daniel. I was born to be chosen, but for years no one wanted me. I thought I was weak, worthless. But then, instinct found you. And now you are mine. Nothing will take you from me." Her voice echoed through the clearing, silencing even the elders. Her glowing tears shimmered like molten gold. Daniel's thoughts whirled. Fear, anger, pity. He wanted to deny her, to push her away. Yet when he looked into her eyes, he felt the bond pulling, deeper than reason, stronger than choice. He felt her pain, as if it were his own, her heartbeat echoing in his chest. The elder pointed his staff at Daniel. "Human, hear me. If you stay in this colony, blood will follow. You must decide now. Leave her, and let us unbind the bond by force, or leave this place forever." The girl growled low in her throat, like an animal ready to strike. She pressed closer to Daniel, clutching his arm. Daniel's mind screamed for an answer, but his heart already knew. The bond, the clearing shook with tension. Torches flickered, the forest winds carrying every whispered word. Daniel stood at the center, the alien male girl clutching his arm, her golden eyes burning with fierce devotion. Around them colonists waited, silent and afraid, while the elders raised their staffs high. "You defy our law," one elder shouted, his voice like thunder. "Human, you bring doom upon yourself and upon us all. Release her, or face exile." The girl growled, a sound too deep for her small frame. "No one will take him from me, he is mine." Her glow pulsed stronger, spreading across her skin like fire dancing under her flesh. Daniel felt it too. The warmth, the pull, the strange heartbeat that was not his own but beat inside his chest. Every second the bond grew stronger, wrapping around him like chains, or like roots. Daniel's hands shook. His mind screamed to run, to break free. But when he looked at her, truly looked, he saw more than obsession. He saw fear. loneliness. A creature abandoned by her own people unless she bonded. She wasn't just clinging to him, she was surviving through him. The elder's staff struck the ground. Then both of you will leave this place tonight. Gasps rose from the crowd. Exile meant death. The forests crawled with beasts and worse things. No one survived long beyond the walls. The girl pressed herself against Daniel, whispering fast, desperate words. If they send us away, I will protect you. Even if I must kill, even if I must die, I will keep you safe. Daniel's heart twisted. He remembered the nights she stalked him, the terror of her whispers outside his door. But now he also felt her trembling. The bond carried her fear into him, just as his fear flowed into her. They were tied now, body and soul. He turned to the elders, his voice shaking but loud enough to be heard. You call it doom, you call it forbidden, but all I see is life. She was dying and I saved her. Isn't that what makes us human? Isn't that what makes us different? The colonists stirred, murmurs spreading. Some nodded quietly. Others shook their heads. The elders scowled, their power slipping as doubt entered the people's hearts. The girl's golden eyes shone brighter. For the first time, a true smile touched her lips. You chose me, she whispered. Even now you stand with me. Daniel looked at her, uncertain, afraid, but also strangely calm. I don't know if I chose, or if the bond chose for me, but if you're tied to me, then I'll make sure it means something. Not slavery, not madness, something new. The elders roared in anger, raising their staffs to strike. Energy crackled in the air, ancient power ready to burn them both. But before the strike could fall, Daniel did something no one expected. He stepped forward, wrapping his arm around the male girl, pulling her close, and lifted his head high. If you want her dead, you'll have to kill me too. The clearing froze. The elders hesitated, their staffs shaking. The colonists whispered louder now, no longer just fear but awe, a human, defying ancient alien law, binding himself to one of their own and daring to stand against power itself. The golden light around the girl flared, wrapping around Daniel as well. For a heartbeat, they glowed together, two beings tied, as one. The ground shook beneath them, and the staffs of the elders dimmed, their energy fading against the strange new bond. The oldest elder fell to his knees, his voice trembling. Impossible. The bond should not survive between species. And yet, the colonists drew closer, not with weapons, but with wide eyes. They saw something that had never been seen before, a human rewriting an alien law by simply refusing to let go. The girl pressed her forehead against Daniel's chest, tears shining like liquid gold. You saved me, she whispered. No one else ever would. Daniel's arms tightened around her. He still felt the fear, the weight of forever, the chains of the bond. But for the first time, he also felt strength flowing between them. Not just hers, not just his. The strength of two hearts beating as one. He raised his head, meeting the eyes of the elders and the colony. This bond won't destroy us. It will change us. Maybe that's what scares you most, that humans don't fear your rules. We make our own. Silence hung heavy in the clearing. Then slowly one colonist dropped to their knees. Another followed, and another, until the clearing was filled with bowed heads, the whispers changing from fear to reverence. The elders stood frozen, powerless, as the truth settled in. A new path had been forged, one no ancient law could erase. Daniel held the alien girl close, her glow wrapping them both in light. For the first time, she no longer whispered, "You are mine," like a threat. She whispered it like a promise, and deep inside, Daniel whispered back, "Maybe I am."